What's up, guys? My name's Joe Little, also known as Happy Fred. This is actually just going to be a test video. I'm going to try and do a little race analysis of a race at Portland International Raceway that I did last Monday. It started off here okay. I ran directly into this guy. I felt really bad about it too because I dislodged his rear wheel and he had to stop and put it back in. So yeah, I mean, clearly not my proudest moment. But overall it was okay. He was able to get back onto the group, as was I. So, not the most ideal way to start the first road race of my year. But it was okay overall. As you can see here, it was extremely wet. It was very, very dicey out there. Surprisingly enough, there was only one crash, which I'll show you a little bit later. But we're going to skip forward a little bit here. This next part, let me turn the volume down here. I was sitting about second wheel with this guy. This guy on the front, you can't really see him because there's a rain spot in his way. But him and I ended up with a gap somehow. I don't know. Maybe the group behind got scared going through that corner because it was a little bit slick and we got a gap. So he turns around and says, hey dude, come on, let's work together. Let's work together. And for a moment I said, yeah, sure, whatever. We're like 2 laps into this race, but you know, whatever. I'll give you a pull. So here I am, just dropping way more watts than I actually need to. But it's, you know, overall okay. I ended up flicking the elbow, looking back, and the peloton was right there. So I said, yeah, hey, it's too early, man. I'm sorry, but I have to back off. So right here's where I was like, yeah, nah, it's too early. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the group. So that's what I did. Surprisingly big gap though, looking at the video here. Bigger than I thought it was at the time. This right here, let's see here. The guy that just dropped back, I think he had a flat tire. That was the guy I ran into. Hopefully, I'm not the one who caused that. But this is actually our first hot lap. There's 2 hot laps in the race. So these aren't preems. They don't give you prizes. They just give you points for the series. 6 points for first, 4 points for second, 2 points for third. So I jump behind this guy right here in the black. This guy wearing the black was ridiculously strong. Like, I don't understand how someone can be that strong and still be in a Cat 4-5 race, but you know, it is what it is. I tried to jump in the draft. I didn't want to like overcommit to this, you know, because we're still early in the race. So I crossed the line 4th. I didn't get any points in the first hot lap. Nah, whatever. I eventually sat up, went back into the group. Now, this is the scary part right here. This is where the crash happened. Check this out. Bam! This guy, oof. Luckily, he jumped right back up. The Portland International Raceway, obviously, this is a place where cars race as well. I think there was oil spots on the track. That corner right there was sketchy. It was just sketchy. There was also some chaos right here. I wanted to show this because the other group was like coming up and passing us, and this guy thinks they're coming on the right, so he's moving to the left and ends up moving those guys off to the grass. He's kind of doing some cyclocross for a second. So, you know, our bad. And right here we got kind of this like washing machine effect with the 2 guys, because there was still, okay, so there's still one guy on the front of the group trying to drive the pace and pick it up. And when this group caught us, those of us in the back, we neutralized. So there was a split in the group. So all of a sudden, I'm riding right here, and I'm looking at this guy to my left, and the guy in front of him, and the guy in front of him, and I don't recognize anybody. I was like, wait a second, I haven't been racing with these guys. So I just kind of continued with them because I eventually saw the front split of the group. They were on the far left, and they actually sat up. They realized that they had to be neutral and that everybody was getting confused. So fortunately, everything came back together. As you can see, I drift to the left here. You can see the group there on the left side of the screen. So yeah, we got everything back together, but it was quite confusing for a second. Luckily, that's the only time that we got passed by the Cat 123 group. Otherwise, it would have made our race far more confusing. Now, okay, so we're back in the group. We're cruising along together at this point. And my strategy kind of going into this race was, I don't know who I'm racing against. I don't know who's strong. I don't know who's weak. I don't have a team. I'm a Cat 5. I'm just going to try and hold on and see how I do. But skip forward here because we get to about the halfway point in the race. And we're coming around the final corner into the final straight here. This is the point we're at. I mean, I think we maybe had 8 or 9 laps to go still. I think the race was a total of 13 laps. Somebody had picked up the pace on the back stretch, and they strung it out. So everybody in the group is kind of tired, and then they come around this corner, and everybody in the front sits up. So I'm still coming up to everybody at the same speed, and I notice that I have all of this momentum, so I just decide to be Matthew fucking Vanderpool over here, and I go for it. I go for it. I don't have any data overlay on this video, obviously, but if I did, it would be, you know, my maximum number of watts, whatever that is. Because, you know, Happy Fred, I don't use a power meter all the time. So here I am, I'm going by myself at this point, and I'm hoping to entice a couple of riders out. I'm figuring I'm halfway through the race. If I can get a group off the front, that's my chance at a better result. So here comes a guy. Luckily, I enticed some people out. So here comes a guy in the black kit. He's about to come up here on my left side. And as he comes up here on my left side, he says to me, come on, let's jump on it. Let's go. Here he comes. Let's just watch this really quick. Yep. He says, come on, let's go. Let's go. I'm already at my limit. I think my heart rate was like 190. And this guy just goes blasting by me. Obviously, way faster than the pace that I was holding. So right here, I'm just completely maxed out. Absolute hardest effort I can possibly go trying to get on this wheel. And I think that any cyclist can realize the agony of this moment, because you're fighting so hard. You're fighting as hard as you possibly can, and you just can't get the freaking wheel, man. It just keeps going further away. And then this guy in the purple, he just toodles by me. He's like spinning like 90 RPM just with his fingers in his nose like, oh, hey, you know, I'm just going to bridge up to this attack and everything's fine. And right about here, I was like, shit, I don't have it. I don't have it, man. So as you can see, I'm sitting up because there's no way I can get up there. And I don't want to push it by myself and just be in no man's land, because if I do that, they're going to catch me and I'm going to get dropped. So I just had to sit up. I let the peloton come back, and those two guys, they stayed away for the whole race. So I guess you could say I set up the attack for the guy in the black who eventually won the race. But that clearly wasn't my intention. You know, I wanted to win the race. I thought that I would be strong enough to do that. But instead, these guys catch me in the peloton, and I had to suck air for like 3 laps because they were chasing so hard, and I was completely spent. I almost got dropped. Almost got dropped right here. But we'll go ahead and skip ahead here just a little bit more, because this is we're coming into the last lap here. This is the last lap. I'm sitting second wheel coming into the sprint, and I'm thinking I am way too far forward here. I don't want to be this far forward. We're sprinting for third. I'm trying to get a third place out of this. And I'm like, well, I'm screwed right now because I'm way too far forward. Sorry for the raindrop on the screen. There's nothing I can do about editing that out. But anyway, this guy goes on the left. He goes super hard, and I'm like, yes, perfect. I hit it as hard as I can and end up getting into this draft. End up sitting about fourth wheel. Now, the finishing stretch on this course, it's long. It is a long course. So even sitting fourth wheel going into the final corner, I'm like, yeah, I'm still a little bit too far forward, but I didn't want to let that guy just like get a gap, obviously. It's a pretty small field we had. I think we only had like 15 guys even racing the thing. So here we are coming into the final corner, and now I feel like I'm in the perfect position. I don't know any of these riders, again, by the way. So I'm thinking, who looks like the best sprinter here? The guy on the right, you know, has like some real skinny legs. You know, he looks like he's just barely holding on. Guy on the left is the wheel I went for because he has the bigger legs. I figured, hey, you know, he's going to be probably the best sprinter here. So I decide to get onto his wheel, and which I do that right here. And this guy starts ramping it up. And luckily I'm able to hold his draft. You know, I'm not much of a sprinter, but I'm able to hold his draft. So I'm picking it up, and I've got a good amount of momentum. So I'm able to get rid of some guys. You see this guy in the blue on the right side of the screen, he's hitting it, man. He's going so hard, getting up to the front. And I notice that they're going faster. So I go to the right. I should have had their wheels in the first place. Luckily, I beat the guy with the big legs just barely, and I was able to hold in for a fifth place finish. You know, if I had played my cards maybe a little bit differently, I might have been able to jump into that breakaway, but those guys were ridiculously strong. So I really don't think in any universe I could have done anything about getting in there. If I had timed my sprint better, yeah, I might have won it. I might have gotten third, but fifth place is I'm pretty happy about that. You know, I'm a happy Fred here. But you know, as always, let's just go ahead and do the YouTube thing. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want more videos like this. If you didn't like the video, just hit the dislike button and then leave me a comment down below. Let me know what I did wrong. Let me know what I can do better for you. Because obviously, posting videos on YouTube requires viewers. Check it out. Happy Fred signing off. Thank you so much.